you know, have somebody in your corner, or be sure that, like French said, get in the habit, and this was one of my bad habits. We never used to do splits in the studio, you know, but thank God, I was with some brothers who are, you know, my brothers truly, and we always were able to work it out. But sometimes you're not in a space like that with people that you trust, or you know like that. So get into a working mindset of that. This is working, even though I'm creating. This is my 9 to 5. This is the way I feed my family. This is the way that I support myself, put clothes on my back. So what comes with that? What responsibility comes with that? And then once you get into that mindset, when you create, you at least take 5-10 minutes out to say, okay, yo, Jida, I just wrote this 2 lines for tip. What we doing about that? Can I put this down at 5%, 2%? You know what I mean? Yo, Amir, we just, you know what I mean? It's epic when they cutting that check. Or French, what is this, 25% for the production? All right, cool, now we can send it to Melissa. You know what I mean? So get in the mindset of doing the business before you do business. Because sometimes we walk in the studio and we're just creating, you know, I could be riding in the car with French, and he's like, yo, that's crazy what you just said. We're going to the lab right now. And we created, 5 hours later, we got a monster. And we leave out, then what? It's no paperwork. Not that I don't trust me, man. But we don't have anything. We have nothing that ties it together. And sometimes it's not done in your studio, it's done in somebody else's studio, and they can take that or change this, change that, and say, no, I did it. So just be mindful of what you're getting into, and do the business before you do business.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Relism Hargrave. This question is to all the panelists, but do it all like you to begin first, since you're the artist. What's the best route for an artist to go? Should an artist create music that people want to hear and then try to market that to the masses, or should they create music that's authentic to them and then finding that niche audience and marketing it to them, to that audience?
I mean, I think there's a bunch of answers for that question. I mean, I think different artists and different people have a lot of answers for that. But for me, as an artist, I always feel like creativity is I mean, it's just endless. And the way that I create something might be different from the way that you create something. So just be you.
I think like if you don't have any kind of hustle in you, this music business is not for you. Straight up. I've been up since 5 a.m. I had to take Sierra to the 3 radio stations this morning, and you know I got a ton of stuff to do. I'm supposed to be picking somebody up from the airport right now. Yeah, they'll be all right. But people say to me, "What are you doing next week?" Like, yo, don't ask me that, because I don't know what I'm doing next week. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in this business because I'm passionate about it. I'm sure everybody else up here is the same thing. You know what I mean? I always speak on panels and I tell people relationship and passion. You know what I mean? The passion in you will drive you places that money can't get you. And if you got any kind of hustle in you, you understand that no just means, okay, now the job begins. You know what I'm saying? And especially what I do, I know all day. And I'm always saying to people, okay, all right. I remember I took this A9 record, Young LA record, I took it to this program director in Houston. And she said, no, Amir, I don't see it. And I said, okay, all right, I'll be back. The record ended up being on the charts, breaking all kinds of records, and she ended up flying the kid back out there to do a show for her. So to me, the word no really just lets me know the job has just started. So, if most of the people, and I'm not gonna say most, but a lot of people that's in this music business, they come from a different kind of lifestyle anyway, you know what I mean, that demanded them to hustle. So you just kind of bring that into in this music business. That's not, everybody don't have to have the same walk, but the hustle is something that everybody, I'm sure on this panel, and if I already know y'all hustles because y'all here. So, you know, don't ever let the word no scare you. Like, for real, that should like be the beginning of the motivation for you.
Jason, can you speak on that? Because just seeing, you know, the way T.I.'s career has expanded, you know, over the years, can you definitely talk on that as well?
I mean, I think in general, like you said, like if you don't have drive, if you don't have, you know, like, it's kind of like you gotta have blinders on, you know. Anybody that's really in the business and, you know, have any success in the business, clearly everyone has heard no and it makes no sense and that's stupid. You know, like, so I mean, you have to like be naive and arrogant and have a lot of self-confidence and things of that nature. But personally, man, I kind of feel like, you know, with today's business, you know, technology, I feel like a lot of kids, a lot of people are trying to enter the business and they kind of lack some of the traditional hustle because it is so accessible and it is so easy. I can sit in my bedroom and make a record, like literally in my bedroom, right? Make a record and then upload it on the internet and, like, you know, design a little cover for my mixtape and go outside and really feel like I'm doing something.
Right.
You know, whereas to me, like, I came from the era of, and I feel old even saying something like that, but it is what it is. It's like, to make a record, you had to, like, pay money to get in the studio. You know what I'm saying? So like it wasn't no work, you know, like that was a big deal. That was a big event. So obviously just anybody didn't make a record, you know. So I just feel like a lot of people nowadays, they feel like they're entitled. They feel like people are supposed to make it easy for them, you know. And it's funny because someone the other night, I literally got into an argument with a person. Well, not an argument, but I just got kind of, you know, a little uncomfortable for both of us from the standpoint of this person like really thought that I was just supposed to get him off the telephone number, you know? And I'm like, okay, like, for what? You know, and they're like, do you have anything to offer me? Like, I know what I can offer you, what can you offer me? You know, like, so this person said, hey, you know, yeah, you're gonna take my phone number, and long story short, I'm like, why do you even feel like you even talk to me like this right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you even, like, what is the point, you know? But, I mean, obviously hustle, you have to, and I think a lot of people nowadays do understand the hustle though, because when I look at some of these artists, some artists are on Twitter, some artists are, you know, manning their own YouTube, Tumblr pages, some artists are really grinding out and driving and, you know, really invested in their career. So I think having both ways, but you have to have that element of the hustle to really just get anywhere.
Piggyback on that. Okay. You gotta, man, y'all gotta touch people. You know what I mean? Because now who doesn't have a Twitter? You know, Justin Bieber got followed on YouTube. That's great. That worked for him. But after that happened, 2 weeks later, you had 1 million people, you know, up on YouTube. So you gotta find your own niche. And a lot of it starts with a hit record. You can be the dopest artist in the world, but if you ain't got that hit record, the money comes from having hit records. You know what I mean? For you that was asking, like, you know, as far as being different. And you do have to have your own niche, because if you notice, every successful artist is something different about them. Whereas James Brown influenced Michael Jackson influenced, you know, Usher, but it was still something different about him. You know what I mean? If you guys remember, for the longest, Trey Songz, like, has always had, in my opinion, some dope records. But as long as Chris Brown and Usher was popping, it was too much traffic. He couldn't. As long as, you know, if you got to be compared to somebody that's still popping, it ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Now he got his lane. He pretty much did to R. Kelly what R. Kelly did to Aaron Hall, what Aaron Hall did to Charlie Wilson, right? He came in and got that lane. So now it's to the point to where, you know, R. Kelly is doing like 50s and 60s style music. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, so Trey like, yo, I'm about to run it. And he coming out with an album almost every 9 months. And he just, you know, while he got it, he gonna kill it. You know what I mean? You gotta have that same work ethic. You know what I mean?
Look, let me piggyback on that too, man, because I feel like I'm still hustling in this game, and I've had platinum records in the 90s, even though it was a different time then. But Madonna was told no by Russell Simmons. You know, there's so many people that were told no. My thing is, and I'm really just learning this in the last 10 years, just to be honest, like, you gotta do what you love, not just for money. You can't do it just for money, because if you're doing it just for money, you might look up and get $1 million pop somewhere, but then that might be it. Then you looking crazy looking for a job at Crystal's or something, or Church's Fried Chicken or something, or whatever, you know? So just do what you love and do it from a space, a creative space that is where you're passionate and is coming from a genuine, real place.
Pure talent. Actually, his name is Travis Scott. He's pure talent. And the kid, like, he went on his own, and he met with a guy at Warner Brothers Records. And after the kid leaves the office, the guy sends a tweet and says, "At Travis Scott, give it up, Chipotle's hiring." So, you know, and literally, like, maybe 2 weeks after that, I meet the kid, and in another 2 weeks, every label in the business is trying to sign this kid. So the A&R who made that tweet, his boss is trying to sign the kid, and now the kid is like, you know, man, I'm not going to Warner Brothers, you know, this is what the guy said. So literally, the guy who made the tweet got fired because now the boss is like, everybody wants to sign, and I can't even meet with him because you made some tweet. You know,
and that's my point too. You know, I mean, that's my point. Don't stop, because just because somebody told you no, there's no master plan to this. There's no science. There's no science to that. The way that I got on, or the way that the next person got on is the way. It's a whole. I mean, Soulja Boy did it off of, you know, just the internet. You know, so it's no science to it, man. Just don't stop. One thing that I would say to musicians and artists, whatever you're doing, if you're a drummer, if you play the guitar, you're a producer, you're a rapper, singer, research your craft. Research what people did. Research what they're doing, how they want, and I'm not saying follow them, but just expand and take some of the good things from that and just build on it and expand on what you're doing and create your own niche, like everybody has been saying. And you never know what's gonna happen. You might be that next person. Just don't stop, because if I tell you no, if anybody up here tells you no, that does not mean anything. You can walk somewhere next week and they're gonna tell you yes, and then we look like the fools. You know what I mean? So just like Gita said, man, you know, that no does not mean anything if you believe in it. And first you gotta believe to make us believe.